This is a comic review of Fantastic Four, issue 41. This is from the Marvel Comics group. 12 cents it was, August 1965. Now, my copy was 10 pence. That was in UK money. 12 cents, obviously, in the US. And the clue in the story is the brutal betrayal of Ben Grimm. Or maybe it should be the brutal betrayal of the Thing. Maybe that doesn't sound such a great title. But, however, Ben Grimm sounds obviously maybe a slightly better, possibly the most daringly dramatic development in the field of contemporary literature, which is quite a good boast from Stan Lee. I assume it was Stan Lee. Oh, Frightful Four, I agree. It's a great issue. Now, the art is by, of course, Jack Kirby. This was getting to the point where the classic run, as far as most people are concerned, for the Fantastic Four. But I love this period. The Frightful Four, I think, was a great issue. Now you've got there, again, tells you again, the brutal betrayal of Ben Grimm. And the fabulous Fantastic Four are stunned by, and that's along the top there, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Vince Coletta, who has never lost his flair, and lettering by Sam Rosen, and of course other production staff involved, which of course unfortunately never got credited, which is always a pity. I always think that everyone involved should be credited. And nowadays, most comics, you do see full-on credits to things. So, but men, join my $100 a week club. Wow. He's selling shoes, I guess. So you got the Thing. It's been after the battle with Doctor Doom, and a classic story that one was. And as always, of course, when the Thing leaves, he wrecks the place. Poor old Baxter Building is always bashed around, lots and lots of instruments all over the place. Not certain why, and I'm going to have to say this bit confused me completely, because the Thing is out in the countryside, and suddenly this ray catches him and drags him into this house. Of all the places, what an amazing coincidence, he happens to choose the headquarters of the Frightful Four, just to suddenly rest him and fall out of this lorry. Very odd. However, you have to have the story start somehow. And anyway, I love that it goes back to the Baxter Building, and you've got everyone cleaning the place up. Sort of, you've got Mr. Fantastic using his powers to scoop up all his equipment in a very subtle way. I imagine that would have been pretty heavy. Was he pretty strong as well? Because that would weigh a ton. But I guess, however, you've got, of course, Sue Storm is using sensibly her wonderful force field to do it. That's a much more sensible approach. Well, you've got the next bit is S.H.I.E.L.D. And this is a classic issue. The first issue of S.H.I.E.L.D. in Strange Tales 135, of course, sharing it with the Doctor Strange and, of course, Submariner in Tales to Astonish, which he shared with the Hulk. Really love that. Now, I'm looking forward to the upcoming Epic Collection that's coming out, I think sometime April-ish, don't know. It's fairly soon anyway. But sadly, it's got a lot of material, all of the appearances like Fantastic Four, issue 4, issue 6, etc. And they've actually got only about like 10 or 5, whatever, it's not many anyway, issues of the Astonish ones, which is a pity because I'm really looking forward to that volume. I'm thinking, oh, should I buy that or not? So I probably still will buy it. But anyway, the Thing, Ben Grimm, is captured by the good old Frightful Four. And of course, you've got the brilliant Medusa. At this point, of course, we don't know that she's a member of the Inhumans. She's still basically the evil Madame Medusa at this point. And you've got Sandman, of course, and all the other characters. Pastebot Pete also has changed his name. He's now the evil Trapster. I suppose it's better than Pastebot Pete, but to be honest, Trapster wasn't much of an improvement, but heck, that's what he called himself. Or the Wingless Wizard. Now, I don't know if the Wingless Wizard would still call himself that either. However, the Fantastic Four are out such. But, of course, Ben is being manipulated by the evil mind of the wizard. And, of course, he's pretty super intelligent. Why he just doesn't use his skills to actually create things, useful things, but that's the case. This bit, of course, Ben then betrays, as it says in the title, the Fantastic Four. There's some odd bits here. I must admit, there's little scenes with, like especially when you've got Ben hitting the force field of Sue. And I just don't believe that's it. He's bashing the force field. I'm not certain that she would have, certainly now, I am quite certain her shield would probably still stand the Thor bashing away at with his hammer, loads of things. So I'm not certain why suddenly, maybe she was feeling a bit off that day. That's an excuse. So there's also other things that always gets me. Is Reed Richards never really used his powers, particularly to the best thing. Maybe they just never felt that but you've got Plastic Man, and even Elongated Man. Even he used his powers all over the place. But Reed, for his super mind, never really practiced or really developed his skills to do things, really odd things with his things. So it slightly always annoys me when I look at that. However, still an absolutely great issue. It's got the Frightful Four. I love the Frightful Four. It was always, to me, a bit like the Justice League when they met with the JSA. For me, the Frightful Four stories were a similar sort of thing. Not exactly the same, but it was always some sort of special story that was the Frightful Four. But sadly, they just didn't have that many issues with them. I think underused, frankly. But they were always squabbling anyway. They were obviously, as soon as Medusa left, you've got the storyline. They sort of obviously the Frightful Three, and to be honest, they're pretty underpowered at that point. But still, they were good stories. And it's a pretty gruesome end to the story as well. Pretty brutal looking, it says the Brutal Betrayal of Ben Grimm. And again, why was it called that? He doesn't actually turn into Ben Grimm. No. Nowhere in the story is he Ben Grimm. He's the Thing. So, me a quibble on that one. However, you've got some lovely, brilliant, I love those. If I can get it right, I'll just put it right to the camera so you can see it. I just love, this is one thing that they don't do so often. I mean, sometimes you do, but you just don't get these lovely like 6 or 4 covers. And of course, just classic covers, the Juggernaut one, that's just brilliant. And also you've got the Submariner first issue, of course. Amazing Spider-Man, that's issue 27. Brilliant Steve Ditko with the Goblin. And you've got the Destroyer. And also you've got that lovely T-shirt there as well. Also, I love the there with the members of the Merry Marchers. Actually, how much was that T-shirt? $1.50. Wow. $1. You could send away for it the Madison Avenue. Then onto the final pages, which are the Mighty Marvel checklist as well as the letters. And there's some really classic issues here. Spider-Man 27, Avengers 18, X-Men 12, Thor 18. I thought it said Thor 18. Thor 18, it's just odd because it's obviously Journey into Mystery. Then you've got Strange Tales 135, Suspense 68, Astonish 70, and Sergeant Fury 20 when you've got Baron Strucker. So you've got some really... I love Avengers, where Avengers 1, 18. Marvel's most surprising mighty superheroes find incredible danger behind the Iron Curtain. See why Captain America's new fighting band is the talk of comicdom today. Somehow, I think they might have been talk of comicdom, but probably thinking in slightly negative terms, as they weren't particularly popular at that point, losing Thor, Iron Man, etc. It was, anyway, still. And that's it. And then you've got the advert on the back. And I love this bit. And now I'm going to admit my ignorance completely. Albert Dawn, probably the greatest moneymaker in the history of commercial art. I have to say, I don't know who Albert Dawn is. To my shame, I know. But that's also has got a little list here of America's 12 most famous artists. And you've got obviously Norman Rockwell, Al Parker, I love his work. And quite a few. Robert Fawcett, I've got quite a few of the books of it. And Albert Dawn. I wonder why they've never brought out a book of Albert Dawn's one. I've never seen a collection of his works. Must look out for it. Hopefully at some point there will be. John Whitcomb as well. Yeah, there's some really good artists there. Anyway, Fantastic Four, issue 41. An absolutely cracking, brilliant issue. Just at the start point, I think, of when they sort of ended up with Inhumans, Galactus, him, Kree, and so on and so on. There were some great issues that just came around about this period. Love this one. So Fantastic Four 41.